CCRS, and I am the Executive Director of the Alumni Association of Chazy Central Rural School. Welcome to the 25th Annual Alumni Banquet, where we honor the 50-year class, the class of 1955. Will the class of 1955 please rise and be recognized? At this time, I would like to invite Mr. John West, class of 1940, to the podium to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Myron Ducharme, a member of the class of 1955, will now do the invocation.
Creator God, loving Father, we thank you this night for bringing us to this place in our lives, this time of coming together. And we pause a moment to remember those who have gone on and no longer are with us. We give you thanks for our lives and for what we have become. And tonight, Lord, we ask your blessing upon our fellowship together, the food we will partake of. Bless it to our bodies in health and goodness, and bless us to your service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Ducharme. It is now time to eat. We always allow our 50-year class to begin, so I would ask you to come and start. And then the two reserved tables over here with officers and guests will go next. And after that, we'll have a long flight for it. Okay? So, come up as you wish. Thank you. The first person is Mr. Fred Smith. Fred is a curator at the Alumni Museum, and he also hosts our alumni tea every year at the museum. He is very supportive, very helpful, and Fred, we appreciate all that you do with the alumni. Mr. and Mrs. Calvin Castine. Calvin and Judy are the owners of Hometown Cable, and I'm sure everybody in this room has heard of them. And Calvin and Judy, we would like to thank you for attending the banquet and sharing our evening with the North Country. We've all heard the expression, it's out with the old and in with the new. We are very fortunate this evening to have with us the old superintendent of Chazy Central and the new superintendent of Chazy Central.
You're pretty old, though.
And Jerry, I don't mean it as far as age, okay? So don't take offense. Mr. Gerald Blair has been the superintendent of CCRS for the past 5.5 years and will now be needing to embark on new adventures. But before you go, Jerry, would you like to say a few words?
Before I came to Chazy, I was superintendent in Lake Placid for 18 years. And after Lake Placid, I went to Schroon Lake, Catskill, and came to Chazy as interims. While I was in Lake Placid for 18 years, I chased Chazy every year on test results. I was a person who always wanted to know how we were doing. And I wondered, how in the world does this school district do it year after year after year, come up with great test results? Since I've arrived, I can tell you why that happens. It is a combination of parents, grandparents, the support of the community to the school district, fabulous children, fabulous grandchildren that you're sending to the school, a fabulous staff that works very, very hard with your students, and all that combination together gives you what you have for a product that we sent out last night. It took us 13 years, I wasn't part of that, to mold that group, and that group goes into the world as you have gone into the world, and it's very, very special. If you come from the outside, if you're not an alumnus of this place and you haven't gone through it, you really don't understand. It's hard to explain. I try to explain to people class day. I try to explain how we do things in regards to the school, how the customs are, what the traditions are. And people just can't understand that. You should be extremely proud. I've been 44 years in this business. I've been to 5 or 6 school systems, and there's no one who comes even close to what you have here. You have it, keep it going. Kevin's going to be a good man, and he will continue. I'm moving on, and my next interim job will be very interesting because I'll be moving into Willsboro. And I can see the first soccer game that we have with Chazy and Willsboro, but I do have to let you know that I'm smart enough to know where my bread is buttered. So I will be on the Willsboro side, but my loyalties will lie with a few of those folks out there on the field who will be wearing a different uniform. And I did tell them in the interview that I would have to take a day off possibly to go to the state finals when Chazy goes off in the state finals. They said, well, what about us? I said, well, if you go, I'll go too. I said, I would go with Willsboro, no problem. But it's another interim job, and they've got their problems, so I'm going down to try to help them out. But I've enjoyed it. I've had a great time. It's been a fabulous 5 years. I think I'm leaving the place as good as I found it, maybe a little better. And I've been proud to have been here. And this lady over here was one who was on the board who hired me, and I thank the board at that time for allowing me to be here. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry, I would like to say good luck to you. Is this on? Good luck to you, Jerry. We hope all your future endeavors provide you with as many fond memories as CCRS has given you, and you will be missed. Mr. and Mrs. Kevin Mulligan, would you please rise? Mrs. Barbara Rice Mulligan is a 1969 graduate of CCRS, and Mr. Kevin Mulligan is the new superintendent of CCRS. We would like to welcome you, Kevin, as you begin your new journey as superintendent at Chazy Central. And as you begin this journey, would you like to say something?
Yes, I'm the young one. But is this on?
Yeah, just pull it up.
I'm the young one, but if you take a look at, I'm getting bald. And as I look at Mr. Blair, he's got a lot more pepper than I do. I'm going to share a story with you that I haven't shared with anybody. I don't even think I shared this with my wife. My first connection with Chazy actually came back in 1954. My dad's boss, my dad taught in a school district called Union Springs. He used to call it Onion Skins. He was a phys ed teacher. And his athletic director was a guy by the name of Harold McBride. Harold McBride came from Chazy, New York. And Harold McBride's son, who was my best friend, his name was Darby McBride. And Darby got his first name from Helen Darby, who lived in Chazy, New York. So it's kind of amazing that it's a small, small world. I was born and I say raised in upstate New York, central New York. I got kidnapped at the age of 8 and brought down to Long Island by my parents. My dad got a teaching job down there and a little more money, maybe 3 times more money than he was making in Onion Skins. And I went to a school, I graduated with a class of 850 students. And I did not know, I had never seen the student in front of me on the graduation line the whole time I was there. And the student behind me, I had only seen, I barely knew. So that's the graduation scene that I experienced. I had been to a few reunions, but it's nothing like this. I just went to the Plattsburgh High School graduation ceremony today, and nothing like what was experienced last night. Chazy, I chose to come here. I started my teaching career down in Long Island, and I took my newborn son, Sean, who's a member of the class of 1993, and I left Long Island, took a 50% pay cut to take a job at MAI in Plattsburgh, New York, where I had gone to school in Plattsburgh. That's where I met my lovely wife, Barbara, who introduced me to Chazy. We bought a piece of property on Lake Champlain, and which was property that was originally owned by Sam Rice and Walter Church, and paid a nice little sum of $10,000 back in 1973 for that. The best investment I've ever had in my life. But don't tell Dick Lewis. And took my son, my family, and took the job at MAI and started teaching there. And until I found that I couldn't afford to teach there anymore, and took a little side trip to Watertown, New York, working for the federal government. Came back to Chazy, built my house, a dream house basically, on Lake Champlain, and we've made a few additions since, raised our family here. So I am not a native of Chazy. I am a person that is, I like to consider myself the adopted son of Chazy. And I've taught at MAI, Northern Adirondack for 11 years. And I was the principal at Northeastern Clinton for 9 years. I skipped Beekman Town, but I've done the full circle. And I consider myself back home. And I look forward to working here at Chazy and working with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Congratulations and the very best to you as you embark on your new journey. CCRS is very fortunate to have you. There are other very important people who need to be recognized this evening, people who do a great deal to keep the Alumni Association going. At this time, I would like to introduce to you the alumni officers and board of directors, and I would ask you to stand as I call your name. President Donald Bucket Trombley, class of 1956. Vice President Jane Fulton Hess, class of 1953. Secretary Tina Earl Trombley, class of 1974, and Tina was unable to be here with us. Treasurer Margaret Ryan Trombley, class of 1979. I also feel it's necessary to thank the board of directors and to recognize them. Rhonda Trombley O'Hagan, class of 1977, she was unable to be with us. Nancy Powers Vestal, class of 1977. Brandy Dozier Lori, class of 1992, and Brandy was unable to be with us. And Richard West, class of 1954. At this time, I have the extreme pleasure of introducing to you our master of ceremony, an individual who has given many, many years of dedication and service not only to the Chazy community, but also the CCRS. When I approached this individual and asked if he would be willing to be the master of ceremony for this year's event, he graciously said yes without hesitation. He is a fine role model for members of our community, friends, children, and grandchildren. It is with a pleasure to present to you a member of the class of 1955, our master of ceremony, Mr. Glenn Latchamore.
Thank you, Kathy. After that introduction, I don't think I got to say anything else. I just look pretty up here. My head is big. But we'll go from there. Gary, I want to thank you for one thing. After you came here, you started off to school at 5 o'clock in the morning. My wife started running with you. I mean, you know.
That'll be another rumor.
But anyhow, in the morning she would go down to school and both of you would walk to school.
Yes.
She finally got me into it, so we're walking 2.5 to 3 miles a day.
Excellent.
So Kevin, I expect you to go out with my wife also.
Love to.
Okay. Brad, don't say nothing. Okay, it's been 50 years since we graduated in 1955. And every time I mention this to my wife, it's been 55 years, 1955 I graduated. She always brings up this subject. I'm glad you waited for me, because when you graduated in 1955, I was in kindergarten. Turns out not to be true. She was in first grade. I'd like to introduce some classes. So do we have anyone here between the classes 1920 and 1925? Please stand up. 1926, 1930. I have a guest whose son is his 50th class reunion today, last night. His mother graduated in 1935. Shall we do so? Would you please stand? I see you still stand up, that's good. In 1938, Margaret LeVere Cornell. Margaret, come on, stand up. Also in 1938, Madeline Fisher-Gagnon. 1939, Esther LeBert-Lacroix. In 1940, John West. It's so hot, I'm going to try to cut this short. So anyone that's been between 1940 and 1950, want to stand up? Stand going year by year. 1951 and 1960. 1961 and 1970. 1971 and 1980. 1981 to 1990. 1991 to 2000. Anyone to 2005? That's it. Oh, it's not over yet. Did you hear what Gordon said? Hurry up. Well, 50 years have gone by fast. It just seems like yesterday that we graduated. And the funny part is, after graduation, you tell everyone, you know, we'll see one another, we'll stay close. And it doesn't stay like that. Last night was great, and yesterday at the museum was great. I saw most of ours at mine that I haven't seen in years, at least 10 years. And those that live in town, the only time I see them is when we're shopping or meet them someplace and say hello. So it's great to be together at a reunion. I've got a little story to tell you also. It's a true story, so listen to it carefully. We had this woman that was very ill. She called Dr. Clark. Is he here? And she said, Dr. Clark, I got something seriously wrong with me. Can I come and see you today? And of course, it's not like yes, it is today. He took her right in. He examined her. He said, what's wrong? Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm passing nickels. He said, don't worry about it. Now go away, go home, put your feet up, relax. If it's no better next week, come back. Long way she called. Dr. Clark, it's getting worse. Come on in, he said. Examined her, he said, what's wrong now? Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm passing dimes. He said, there's nothing to worry about. Go home, put your feet up, and relax. It's no better next week, come back. Sure enough, he called again. Dr. Clark, it's really worse. Come and see you. She said, come on in. He examined her. She said, I'm passing orders every time I go like that. He said, I'm telling you, there's nothing to worry about. You just went through your change. And Dr. Clark was very happy. She got Blue Cross Blue Shield because he thought he was going to pay nickels, dimes, and quarters. I'm not going to go into any detail. I'm just going to cut it short because it's so hot and I'm going to get out of here. I'm just going to give you some history about 1955. 50 years ago, in our senior year, we had someone come in, phys ed, and he said, I'm going to teach you a new game. He said, it's called soccer. He said, you cannot use your hands, you can only use your feet, and your head. No one in our class went out for it because we never heard too much about soccer. You never heard of playing ball without using your hands, just your feet and your head. But 50 years later, Chazy is the state champion in soccer. That's good history for all. Just to show you that I went back in history a little bit. At this time, I'm going to call one of my classmates to come up here and introduce our class members. Before I do, everyone thinks Andy was a little angel. Well, I'll tell you, I was in close school with him. And poor Ruth Trahan had a nervous breakdown. And Andy, you know this is all true. Every time she did something he didn't like, failed, or anything at all, he'd go up the window because we're on the 3rd floor. There was a little edge. He'd get on that little edge and say, I'm going to jump. And poor Ruth Trahan always had a fit, begging to come back in. He finally came back in and he got what he wanted. Anyhow, I'd like to introduce to you at this time my classmate, Andrew West.
I've been preparing for about 3 weeks for this speech, and Len just told me it's pretty warm, so he's cut it short, so I'm taking that to heart. But I do want to say I'm up here to introduce Raise it up.
Is this okay? I'm intimidated.
So that's what I'm going to do, but I just want to respond to his comment about myself and Mrs. Trahan. Yeah, it's true. But there's a reason for that, and well, a lot of other things, and maybe Len suggested that it might be a good time tonight to fess up to some of the things that went on in the past. And since I'm getting on in age and I don't want to take these things with me to the grave, maybe I should do that. But I entered Chazy in 6th grade, okay? And it happened to be Miss Brothers' homeroom class, and I was 12 years old at the time. And someone reminded me this afternoon, I think it was Joy Bush, I had to live up to what's the word? Miss Brothers laid on me. Legacy? Anyway, she stood me up in class when I came in front of the room and said, we have with us a young gentleman who comes from a great family, good father and mother, good Catholic family. He's been to Catholic school, St. John's in Plattsburgh, and she said, he will be a model student, and I want you people to model yourself after this young man. Well, needless to say, I ended up in the principal's office. You know, and lots of things happened, and some of the mysteries, some of the things that occurred during the years, I want to mention because a lot of people don't really know whatever happened. And one of the things was, who was it that tipped over Maynard Lapierre's back house on Halloween? Well, I'll have to fess up. I did it, but I didn't know he was in it at the time. We put the 3-inch firecracker and pumpkin and Arson Tremblay's porch down in Main Street, downtown Chazy. Yeah, I did it. But I did not know that Arson was around the corner with a loaded pistol. Just as I dropped the firecracker in the pumpkin, he stepped around the corner and he says, "You're dead." And he fired that thing, and the flash came out of the gun about this far. And I stood there saying, I'm dead, I'm dead. And Ronnie Brown's across the street saying, Ronnie, you goddamn fool. He said, yeah. So I finally got my act together, and I didn't waste any time getting out of it. For a number of years, on Halloween, the bell used to ring at the chapel in Minor Cemetery. And it went on for a number of years. And state police were called. I remember one night there were 3 cars lined up there. They had spotlights, searchlights shining up on the bell tower. And the bell was ringing, and they even tried to get up on the roof, but they didn't have a ladder. Never could they figure out, who was responsible for that. Well, it's time to fess up. They didn't know, but what we would do is, a couple of weeks before Halloween, and we attach a wire to the clapper on the bell, and we strung it all the way across the little Chazy River, and we were in the swamp on the other side, pulling the wire, ringing the bell. Yeah, I was responsible. And there's another mystery in the old school. And you have to remember, we come from the old school. So things were a little different in those days. But it seemed that on occasion, they would find bicycle tracks in the hallway coming in the main entranceway, up the stairs, and go to your right and up on the second level and around the hall and down on the opposite side. And poor old Frank Harvey, and I think my friend Red over there can attest to this. I mean, he was a custodian then, and geez, he couldn't figure out how in the world anybody could ride a bike, especially, this is after hours now, and the school's all locked up. And anyway, yours truly, we always had a way to get into school. I mean, that wasn't a problem. But once we got in there, we could open the doors, and I'd ride my bike around the parking lot in the back. It wasn't paved, and I'd get the wheels all dusty with lime dust. And I would carry the bike in, and I would take it up to the second floor, and then I'd ride it down the stairs. And so there were tracks there, and it appeared like, they'd come in and run out. Poor Frank, he's listening now. It was me, and I'm sorry. And these sorts of things that went on, and nobody really got hurt. And I think Frank probably got paid overtime to clean all that up. Good clean fun, I guess, is what I think about. And I really think about today's situation, and with all the things that are out there with kids today, how we ever made it. But somehow we came through, and it was all good fun. So anyway, those are some of the mysteries, not all of them by any means. And if anybody has any questions they want to ask me, I'll try to be as forthright as I can in answering them. One thing I would like to do before I go ahead and introduce our classmates is most of us who have attended school always had a teacher, at least one, sometimes more, that they would like to emulate. Someone who you gained their respect, and they did something that touched you somehow, and perhaps led you on to what your career or whatever you turned out to be today. And I want to say I used to couldn't spell industrial arts teacher, and now I are one. But I'll tell you, there's one man in this room tonight that had a lot to do with that. And he gained my respect, and he was a very young man when he came to Chazy. And I can remember, I got to meet him before school ever started that first year, because he worked with my father at the hardware store. And it was amazing, because of course I sort of considered that I was born with a saw and hammer in my hand, and having been brought up in a construction background in the old days when you would build a house. My father was a contractor as well as run the store. You not only put up a house, but you built the cabinets, you built the window, you did the windows, you built the screens, your doors, you did all that sort of stuff. So I grew up in that environment, and I have to say I felt pretty comfortable in the shop. But this person had just graduated from 4 years at Oswego. I believe it was Oswego. And I'll have to say, I think he learned a few tricks that summer. And I thought to myself, if this guy can teach industrial arts, so can I. And I want to give credit to Mr. Robert Rathman here tonight, because he is the man who led me and guided me and gave me my respect along the way. And that's probably why I'm here tonight and had a very successful career as a teacher. So I'd like to give Robert a big round of applause.
How come you didn't give me an A? Twinge my back like that boy, If I had him in school, I'd give him an A now.
I don't too long going into that one. I do know a little story that I'd like to talk about my mentor. And it was only a year or so ago we were attending a party, and he was telling a story about these new pills that are out on the market these days. And Chris, kind of talked to him and said, Bob, maybe the doctor can help you a little bit if you, ask him, tell him what the problem is. And so he did, and the doctor prescribed that pill, that everybody talks about. And he did what he was told. He went home and told Chris, that he had the pill and he was gonna. So she got all fessed up and powdered herself up after the shower and in a negligee, and she's in her bedroom and she's waiting for him, and he took the pill a half an hour ahead of time, did everything exactly the way he was supposed to, and so he goes rushing up the stairs, on the same floor, and into the bedroom, and when he got there, he forgot what he was going for. Okay, I guess we better get down to business again. And the first name on the list is Irene Oliver Baker. Now, all right, so anyway, while she's coming up, I just want to mention that, I mentioned the old school, right? Well, we had a buddy system back then. And it wasn't exactly, what you know or who you know, but it's where you sat. And Irene happened to be a very good speller. And as I told you, I was not. That's where I used to couldn't spell industrialized teaching on heroin. So I always made sure in the spelling class I sat behind Irene. And I managed to make it through it. Thank you, kid. I don't know whether you realize it or not. Pauline Trombley Leeson. Pauline is everybody's friend. And if you are ever in need of anything or need help, she's a good person to have in your corner, because Pauline will be there for you. And I guess if I had to have somebody in a foxhole and I had a choice, it would be her. All right, next one is Larry Lover Brothers. And I'll tell you in a minute what that's all about. Oh yes, coming up is Shirley Manor Brothers. I don't know whether you realize it or not, but Larry married Shirley shortly after graduation.
And she knew surely he would.
They should say
Okay, Betty Tremblay Charbonneau. Betty and Elizabeth, of course, go together, and Elizabeth, in my mind, represents a queen. And if there ever was one, it's her. Okay? Reverend Myron Bouchard. Myron sang at my wedding, and I hope he'll sing for us tonight. He has a fantastic voice, and every time I hear him over the years, it seems to get just a little bit better. But I can't pass up an opportunity to tell a little story since his mother was sitting right here. Myron, remember the time we went to Canada after the school play? Your mother says she remembers. I think the play actually took place right here on this stage.
I think so.
Okay? Well, Myron wasn't the type of fellow to, to do that sort of thing, but in those days we used to head right across the border. The drinking age then was 18, but they never checked. So 14, 15, 16, whatever it was, we were over at the Duray Cove. Well, Myron, not to his wishing, but he had a little bit too much to drink, and on the way home, I played the guitar and played that night, and it was in the back seat and a pair of shoes that I had there, and somehow they got about half filled up with, some kind of stuff. And it seemed like there was no end to this, so we figured, well, we got to stop this somehow. So we put his head out the window in the back seat, and we cranked the window up, so we couldn't get it back. And it was pretty cold that night, and we figured, well, by the time he gets home, he'll probably be, in pretty good shape. Well, by the time we got home, we cranked the window down, and he just kind of slid back in the seat, and he didn't seem to improve a whole lot. So, if anyone here remembers who was with me that night, but it took two of us to get him up to the front door, and we opened the outside door, and we put him up against the front door, and then we closed the outside door, and we rang the bell, and we waited until we saw the lights come on, and then when the doorknob turned, we turned around and ran. Mother opened the front door, and Myron was I remember as we drove away, Shirley saying, "Myron Okay, let's get on to the next one. All right, Charles Harvey. Perhaps you people aren't aware of it, 51 years ago, 1954, Charles Harvey qualified for the Indianapolis 500. And his father's old 49 Buick, he went around the corner between here and the landing. We call it Houston Spur down. We go down, and I believe it was something like 75 miles an hour, and I think that's closer to that 30. And needless to say, there wasn't too much noise in the car. We were all pretty scared. We happened to have one gentleman with us named Gerald Russia, who, prior to this little trip, the speed run we made around the corner, we'd been imbibing a little bit, and he had to take a whiz, and he kept saying that Charlie said, "Would you please stop the car?" And I'll go. And Charlie didn't stop the car, and so finally, after going around the corner, we got up the top of the hill, he started to slow down. He said, "Okay, Gerald, I'm going to stop." He says, "You don't have to. I already know." Okay, Charles Hinklebein, as you're aware, his picture is on the cover of our booklet, and he is deceased.
He was a classmate and a good friend. And at this moment, I simply would like to ask for one moment of silence in his behalf. Okay, Betty Hebert is not here. Eunice Brockington Hislop. Where is Eunice? Well, people who were around here back in the 50s, early 50s, know that Eunice lived next door to the hardware store, and we lived on the other side. So she would be what we call the next door neighbor. Well, you know those stories about the next door neighbor. Now, I want to say, Eunice, it's still not too late.
Remember the time you put the ladder up to my bed, to a bedroom window? That's what you were going with Nancy to do. I can tell stories of you too.
Marjorie Lattimore, Mizzou. I always have a hard time getting my tongue around Lattimore and Mizzou. My French is all not that good, but I'll tell you what, no matter how you translate it, it spells money. Glenn Lattimore. I remember when Glenn used to carry a briefcase around full of lifesavers. Right, Glenn? But today you carry your briefcase around full of loot. And I want to say right now that Glenn has done an awful lot for this group tonight. He, first of all, was chairman of the art committee for putting this thing together. Together. He and Mary have been very gracious. We had meetings at their house. We did have some good help. I contributed hardly anything. And he's been very generous, and I'd like to thank you for that, Glenn.
Professional all the time.
Gordon Monty. He's our own Gordy Little. Chazy Central Rural School. He may be small, but he's big in stature. What Gordy can't do, nobody can. Loretta Pearl is not here. I was going to say she was a gem. Donald Saucer's not here. He was Donald Trump. Saucer. He's not here tonight. His wife had an accident. He sort of retired and then went back into the bee business. Apiaries, is that the proper name for people who beekeepers? Anyway, I don't know a whole lot about bumblebees, but I can tell you a little bit about boobies. Daniel Stone. Like a rock. And I say that because every time we went water skating, he went down like a rock. Actually, Danny was a good skier. And I have to tell this story. We had a camp right across the road from here. His dad had a trailer park. And one Sunday after Mass, we just came home from church, and Danny was there waiting because we used to always go skiing. And he had his suit on and tie. He just come from church. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, we're going to go skiing." And I said, "Danny, don't you think you ought to take off your suit and tie?" And, "No," he says, he rolled up his pants, and he was good enough, believe me. We used to do that. We could start off from the dock, and we'd go out and make a run and come back and ski right up the dock and sit down, not even get wet. Well, I just couldn't resist the opportunity because there was quite a little crowd there on the shore watching all this, and so instead of slowing down when I made the last turn, you give the signal cut to get off, I speeded up the boat. And I made a really sharp turn, so I whipped him right around very fast. And when he came to our dock, if the skis had gone under, it would have broken his legs off. So he managed to sit back on the skis like a pro and got tips up, and they hit the dock, but when the keel in the back, hit the dock, the skis stopped dead, and Danny did a complete somersault right over into the... He got up with a suit and tie. You remember that, Dan? Okay. Teresa Jeanette Bassett. Teresa holds the distinction of having 2 great grandchildren. She beat the class in that regard. Okay? And we have Ann Doherty Wilson, who is not here. And last but not least, Andrew Angel West. No, I was no angel. Even though my father and mother's names were Mary and Joseph, I was no Jesus. I can't help but think about the time my poor mother was a saint, in my estimation. If she could be around today to hear the sorts of things that go on, the language used in television, and excuse me, like one word, I'll call it the M word, very common today on television, around the news, you read it all the time. I didn't know what the word meant. And I'm not sure she knew, well, I shouldn't say she knew what it meant, but she probably didn't know the word. But she did say to me, Andy, if you don't stop doing that, you're going to go blind. So I said, Mom, is it okay if I do it just till I have to wear glasses? Okay, that concludes my, there's a lot more, but we don't have time and it's too hot.
You know what's funny about that? They used to say you do that, you go blind. Now they say you take Viagra, you go blind too. Okay. I don't have much to say about anybody. I don't have nothing to say about myself. Because I'll be honest with you, I was an altar boy. And I was kept pretty busy. At this time, I'd like to call up Kathy Devins to make presentation of the awards.
Thank you, Glenn and Andy. Before we present the awards, I have something of interest I'd like to share with you that Dick West handed over to me this evening prior to beginning the program. He gave to me a piece of paper that the title is Incentive Awards and Scholarships. It's very interesting to realize that last night at graduation at a little school called Chazy Central, there was approximately $360,000 given out in scholarships from colleges, businesses, and memorials. And for a little school, I think that says a lot. We were a part of that scholarship, of the giving of scholarships, and this year we had one applicant who qualified for the Alumni Association of Chazy Central Rural School Scholarship that was presented last night. The recipient will receive a check in the amount of $1,000 upon the completion of her first semester, and when she provides proof that she is enrolled for the second semester of college. This year's recipient has been accepted at Russell Sage College and will be studying art therapy. She is the daughter of Kevin Beeman, class of 1978, and Jill West Beeman, class of 1977. Congratulations and best of luck in the year to this year's Alumni Scholarship recipient, Rebecca Ann Beeman. And at this time, I would like to invite Nancy Powers Besco to present another award.
The The Alumni Association would like to present this honorary alumnus award and service award to a gentleman that is from a small town very like Chazy. His dedication to our school, its history, Mrs. Minor, and our association have been very much appreciated. I would like to present this plaque to Mr. Fred Smith in thanks for his consideration and involvement with our association.
Thank you. No speech bucket.
Mr. West, would you please come and award the Alumnus of the Year?
It's quite an honor to award the Alumnus of the Year, as it always is. Our Alumnus of the Year for the year 2000, Hillary Clinton and Margaret Thatcher, really couldn't come close to what our Alumnus of the Year has accomplished. Our alumnus is a person that can lead, make decisions, and designate authority. She was active through her school years at Chazy Central. She was involved in photography and played the saxophone in the school band. She married a local gentleman. She was a mother of 3 children, and they have all graduated from Chazy Central Rural School. She is a grandmother of 8 grandchildren, and they are all attending Chazy Central Rural School. She seems to run her own personal restaurant out of her home. It seems as though every morning she feeds these 8 grandchildren before they go off to school. Now, that's quite an accomplishment. She has hosted many activities for her children. She has hosted many business activities. She and her husband have been in a local business for almost 40 years in Chazy. They are known to be very fair to their employees. She is known for her Sunday dinners. She is active in the Sacred Heart Church, the religion program, and active in the Harvest Dinner. Along with her business responsibilities, she was bookkeeper for over 24 years when her husband was involved in politics. She and her husband have donated many sports uniforms. They have donated a huge amount of equipment for the sports program at Chazy. They also donated the first outdoor soccer scoreboard for Chazy Central Rural School. They donated the 1984 girls soccer banner for Chazy. The most important concern she has is to her family and her children. She is now waiting for their 8 grandchildren to graduate from Chazy Central Rural School. She has always spoke with pride of her days at Chazy Central Rural School. I would like to present to you the Alumnus of the Year for the year 2005, Mary Deal Lattimore, class of 1962.
Thank you. It's been easy to be part of the community of Chazy. With Glenn supporting with our children and helping the other children be able to accomplish many things that I know we were fortunate enough to be able to do, not just for our own, but the others. I don't know, to share this honor with my husband, who also was a nominated Alumni of the Year, which we weren't able to attend that year, which I really felt bad about. But it's nice to have been given this award, and I really will cherish it. And now I can put mine up next to Glenn's. For a reason.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask our president, Donald Bucket Trombley, if he would please come up and give a few remarks.
Since the others went long, I'll go long. I want to thank everyone for coming and having such a wonderful evening with everybody. And I can relate to this class. Andy admits to doing a lot of things. I remember one good deed he did. One Halloween, somebody messed up the front lawn, the front pond, and Andy happened to have a boat. So the following day, the two of us boys got the day off from school to go out and clean it up. And Andy was part of that. And Mr. Rathbun didn't only teach industrial arts. A lot of boys in this room can relate to what he did. But there were some things that he did to bring us back to what Mr. Blair was talking about. And it was unusual to go and shop. And Mr. Rathbun would pick out a boy and say, "You're going to be the group leader today." And leave them in charge of taking care of the other kids, making sure they did things. And once in a while, he would teach a little foreign language, just to keep things going smoothly. Like trying to think of some of them, like how do you say cut the grass in French? That was mowed lawn. The refrigerator was isobata. Am I right, Robert? And Maren Ducharme, can relate to him. Maren didn't always do the things Andy talked about. I belonged to the 4-H club with Maren. But once in a while we would wander down to the lake, and our meetings would end up swimming in Lake Champlain. And I could go on with quite a few stories, but anyway, it's getting warm. I hope you had a wonderful evening. Some of the things you can do to make our job a little easier is, if you know an alumnus that has moved or planning on moving, make sure that we get their new address and correspondence for the newsletter. I think Nancy is always looking for stuff to put in the newsletter. And just for everyone to keep better in touch. And next year's class, when do we start for that? We're going to start this year, right? The 9th? That'll be my class. I'll make sure that you get that underway. And I want to thank everyone for coming and having a wonderful evening, and drive safely. And see you next year.
As it is our tradition here in Chazy, to wind out our program, we always stand and sing as one the great song and prayer that was written for the first Armistice Day in 1938. It was sung by Kate Smith. If we can all stand and sing together, "God Bless America." There was a verse, if we can remember, Kate Smith, back in the 38 and 40s, when she would stand on the stage and she would sing "God Bless America," she would lead into it with the verse of that song. It started out, while storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a common prayer. God, God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her till the night is a light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, white with gold. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Stay around and visit, folks. Thank you. Thank you, George. Lucky music.